Hey guys, this is the highly requested tutorial for the Dr. Pepper Snow Globe Cup. Pause for the list of materials I use for the solution part now. You're also going to need Dawn dish soap and distilled water. Has to be distilled for the foam. Also, I use a squeeze bottle like this, and I did break out the scale for all of you who like to measure things. Put it all together, and this is going to be the final product. You're going to be able to do this. Okay, so first you go in with your solution. I use a pre-made. I use Magic Flow Suspended by Two Moms Craft Shack, but if you make your own solution, you can use that too. I put it in this 2-ounce condiment container. I fill it about halfway full. I go in next with 3 drops of red food coloring. These are great value Walmart brand, nothing special. And 3 drops of green food coloring. If you want more or less, that is fine. This is what I do, but it has to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So for every 1 drop of red, you have to use 1 drop of green. I mix it in this little container right here. I scrape the sides really well. Also, you're going to see me lifting up that popsicle stick. I am just pulling up the liquid to see the color. Make sure that the green and the red are evenly or as evenly distributed as I can get it at this point. And then I'm going to transfer this liquid into my empty squeeze bottle. Guys, I got that at the Dollar Tree. Nothing fancy. Put that in your bottle, and then you're going to go back in with whatever solution that you use. Again, I use Suspended Flow by Two Moms Craft Shack. It is my go-to. I'm just going to put a little bit more in this container right here, and that's just to get that extra food coloring off the side. The reason I'm doing this is the ratio is very, very important. So I want to get as much of it as I can out of that little container and into my squeeze bottle. And as you can see, there was a significant amount of color left in the little container. Could you skip this part? Probably. Could your color be a little bit off? Also probably. This is just what I do. Once I've got that in there, I go back in with the Magic Flow Suspended and just fill it up in that container about as much as I think I'm going to use. I eyeball everything. I filled it up about halfway. That's just what I normally do, and I use about half. I use it or half of the container. Switch it around a little bit. Try to make sure it's really incorporated, and this right here is your colored solution. You are done with that port of this. Now we're going to move on to the soap and water. I eyeball everything. That is already done. That's the color blue I'm looking for. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to put it on a scale and try to give you an exact measurement of soap because that's probably the most common question I get asked. So that is a 2-ounce condiment container. I fill it up about halfway, so we're going to call it 1 ounce of water. I have zeroed this scale back out. You're going to watch me do that now. This is to fluid ounces. I'm going to use muscle memory and eyeball about how much soap I normally use. And then we're going to look at the scale and see what it says. So when I'm happy with it, it's reading at 0.1 fluid ounces. So 1 ounce of water, 0.1 ounce of Dawn dish soap mixed together. And what we're going to do now is a side-by-side comparison to the already pre-made one that I had already done before this tutorial to what we just did now and see how they compare. The one I set down first is the one I already had made, and this is one we just did. They look pretty much identical. So 1 ounce of distilled water, 0.1 fluid ounce of Dawn dish soap, and that is going to be your foam. Next step is to get it into the cup. I use acrylic tumblers. You can use glass. I just prefer the acrylic. It doesn't matter. This is the part where you're going to fill up your cup with the colored solution. I don't mix them together because once the soap is in there, it starts creating the bubbles and it just becomes kind of messy. Also, these cups have somewhat of an optical illusion, so the inner wall and the outer wall, there's a gap on the bottom. So you're going to see me here plug it and flip it over and look and see the level of solution. At that point right there, when it was flipped upside down, it looked good. When I flipped it back right side up, it wasn't even halfway full. So to me, this is an important step. you're going to want to leave probably a 1 to 2 inch gap at the top for your water and soap solution, and also an extra space for the pressure and the foam to move up into when you shake the cup. So this took me about 3 times to get it right to where I wanted it. I'm going to take this phone down and you're going to see my preference on how much of the actual colored solution I like. Thumbs up, we're there. So this is where I like mine to sit. I do like that bigger gap up there like that because I think they look better with more foam, to be honest. So once you've gotten that, now normally I take my condiment container, put it into a little paper cup. You're going to see me do that. But I quickly realized about halfway through that it was going to get messy trying to film this and get that solution in there. I do use all of that 1 ounce of water to the soap mixture in the cup. So I grabbed a clean funnel and finished doing it that way to try to make it a prettier video for you guys. So that's what I'm doing here. Again, once you get the water in your cup, I do not recommend shaking it yet. Plug it up and flip it over and make sure you still have a little bit of a gap up top with nothing in it. If you don't, take a syringe and pull some of that solution out of there until you have a little bit of a gap, because again, if you ship these cups or even just shaking them, you need to have an air pocket in there for the foam to have the ability to move and the pressure to kind of disperse so you don't end up with a broken cup. So this is me checking, and I like what I see. And there you go. Those bigger bubbles at the top, that is actually empty space. That is that gap I was talking about. You can't tell it's a gap when it's shake up. It's still very pretty, but you need that for the pressure. So anyways, there you go. That's it. It's not that difficult. You guys can do it. This is the first tutorial I've ever done. So if you like what you see, let me know below. And if you guys want more tutorials just like this, yeah, I guess I'm open.